Friends, so today I'm going to do a little bit of something different than I've done before, and I'm going to tell you about 5 things that I wish I had known before I came to college. So if you don't know, I'm currently in my 5th year of school. I'm getting my MBA. I graduated with my undergrad in the spring, May 2020, and now I'm pursuing my Master's of Business Administration, which is a fancy word for business. My undergrad was in marketing and human resource management, and what I want to do with that, who knows? I am very open to a lot of different things, and so I'm excited to see what I do next. But for right now, I am looking back kind of on just my experience in college and some things I've learned, some things I wish I learned sooner, some things I still don't know, and I just thought I would share with you 5 things that have been on my heart lately, 5 things that I've realized have really changed in my mindset over the last couple of years, and just some things that I feel like can really make your college experience more fulfilling and less stressful. It doesn't have to be so stressful. Are there things that stress me out? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. But there are a lot of ways, especially like connecting and focusing on your relationship with the Lord, that just help everything else fall into place. And it's easy to think that that's not true. It's easy to think that those things are separate, like my education and my spiritual life aren't hand in hand, but like your spirituality and your relationship with the Lord plays a huge part in your ability just to function every day, and that includes going to school. Without further ado, here are 5 things that I wish I'd known before I came to college. Number 1, give it to God first. Now again, this is something that you're probably like, Allie, we hear that all the time. Give it to God first, pray about it, blah, 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 blah. It's 100% true. Even though we're told all the time, cast your anxiety on Him, what does that actually look like? And what does that actually mean to cast your anxiety on Him and let Him bear our burdens? In college especially, I feel like I have a lot of times I say I give it to God, and maybe I do, but I don't give it to Him first. So what do I mean by this? When I'm stressed about a test, who do I tell first? Probably my roommate, probably also my mother. When I'm faced with a choice or a difficult decision, who do I ask about it first? Probably some of my best friends, probably my mom. And that's great, and it's so good to have those people that we can confide in. It's so good to have people who we can get advice from. But here's the thing, things get tough if all we are doing is talking about it over and over and not praying about it, intentionally asking God to step into that situation. All we're gonna do is make ourselves worry more. All we're gonna do is make the problem seem bigger than it actually is. I could say this all day long, but it does make a difference. I find myself all the time complaining about things or stressing out about things to people around me and thinking, Allie, you haven't even prayed about it yet. You haven't even given it to God. And odds are if you did, He would take it away. And not in like a He's withholding taking it away from me because I'm not praying about it. No, but because I need it. I need to process it. I need to talk with Him about it for my sake. He doesn't need me to do it, but He knows that I need that part of our relationship to get through things that are tough. When we talk about things without intentionally bringing them to the Lord, we get literally nowhere. Like, nowhere. Talking about it before praying about it just makes the situation worse because we're dwelling in it, we're sitting in it, and not being proactive about whatever problem we're facing. This applies to everything, whether that's school and test or relationships or decisions about your future. Anything that causes you to stress or worry is worth giving to God first before even your closest friends and your closest roommates. Tests, relationships, loss, heartbreak, the weather, literally whatever, give it to God first, and you will see so much more of a weight lifted off of your shoulders than when you waste your time complaining about it, talking about it, and dwelling in the hard stuff. Number 2 is to write everything down, and I mean everything, absolutely everything. Any thought that you have, anything you want to remember, any date that you want to look back on, any quote that you think is cool, any word that you're like, I want to look that up later, anything, any memory, anything. Obviously, I can't say it enough. Write everything down. You will be so thankful that you did. Personally, in school, I'm a sucker for lists. I definitely have, let me grab my planner. Here it is. So I do have one of these lame, fancy, girly planners that everybody has. I've had different brands in the past. I'm like out of breath. I ran downstairs to grab this. Hold on. Okay. So I've definitely had other brands before. Erin Condren is one. There's another big one, but this one I have now is Dayspring, and my sister got it for me. Thanks, sis. And I use it all the time. There are a lot of different formats and stuff for different types of planners. I didn't mean for this to be like a planner video, but here we are. My favorite part about the planner is that it has these little check boxes right here. It's kind of goes, separates by days and it has check boxes. And I love that because it's like a long to-do list for the week. And I can like pick days that I want to do things. But if I finish it before or I have to finish it later, I can still mark it off. It's not like gone. It doesn't take up that time slot. I love it a lot. It really helps me stay organized. And I write like anything I need to do in the day. Anything from go to the gym, go to the store, or like a specific assignment, go to a certain class, a certain thing from work I want to do, or a certain person I want to call. I can write anything down and I remember it. And one thing that's really cool that I've started doing is kind of looking back, especially over with how weird this year has been, and just seeing the things that I've done is really cool and actually really funny to be like, I can't believe I wrote that down, but I'm glad I did because I will always remember that on the 6th of April, I posted a resume tip video. That's fun. It's just really cool to me to be able to look back and see those type of things. Outside of school, remembering where you've been and how far you've come is a feeling unlike any other. My roommate is really good about this and a huge advocate for prayer journaling. And I love that about her. I really struggled to journal for a while, I think because I cared way too much about the way it looked or doing it the same way or making sure I prayed every day and had a date, you know, every day of the week where I knew that I had prayed and had this section and I prayed for everyone and I prayed for everything, you know. I just cared way too much about doing it right and thinking that there was a right way to pray and to journal and to document things. With some encouragement from my roommate recently, I picked it back up. And I've been so amazed by it, and just from the feelings and the encouragement that it has brought me from being able to not only process my prayers through writing, but also to look back and see prayers that have been fulfilled, prayers that the Lord has answered, or prayers that have changed and things that I no longer desire or things that I didn't even realize had come through. In fact, I have two. Let me show you. So like I said, I have two journals that I use fairly often. I definitely don't do it every day anymore, and I think that's been very freeing for me, but if you're one of those people who can do it, good for you. And so I have this journal that I kind of use to just write other thoughts down, and then I have this one, which is from my roommate, and it's just like one that she had, and she actually got it for me at the beginning of the summer when I was starting my internship at church. And she said it was a really great way. Actually, she got it for me at the beginning of the year, not even at the beginning of the summer, because I have prayers from before COVID and before the tornado, and specifically to pray about my youth that I'm working with, and being able to do that and to just pray over them and pray over how I show Jesus to them every day has been so fun and so good for my relationship with the Lord. Especially as I've stepped into this new role. It's definitely different than anything I've ever done, and so that's been really awesome. So all that to say, whether you have multiple journals and like the nerd that I am, or if you have one that you write everything down in, I really encourage you to write everything, anything and everything down. It's a really awesome way to see God's faithfulness. And if you don't already, I really suggest taking notes during sermons and during Bible studies. That is a really cool thing too, to be able to look back on and remember lessons that you've learned or conversations that you've had, or even call preachers out when they reuse content. Just say. It's so fun. So I usually try to stick with one. I'm currently like in the middle of two right now. So it's like one series that started in one class I'm in is in one journal, and then as I'm finishing up other ones, it's in this other journal. Crazy. Sorry for the trees. But all that to say, write everything down. Snack break. Thing number 3 that I've learned in colleges is to be interested. Note that I said interested, not interesting. Have you ever heard people say things like, people aren't thinking about you as much as you worry that they're thinking about you? Because that's definitely true. I think all the time, oh my gosh, I'm doing all this wrong, or like everyone must be thinking this terrible thing about me. And here's the thing, Nobody is. No one is spending as much time nitpicking what you're doing as you are nitpicking yourself. Does that make sense? I personally really struggle with trying to be really cool in the eyes of people. I want people to think that I'm mature. I want people to think that I do things that are cool or impressive, or that I'm attractive, or that I live a life that's cool. I want people to think I'm interesting. Even if I somehow manage to leave some social gathering feeling like I have done that perfectly, everyone thinks I'm on it, I guarantee that in a couple of hours, or when I wake up the next day, I will still have that same fear and that same anxiety, and I will still feel the need to prove myself. It doesn't go away. We wake up the next day and feel the pressure to do it all over again. And the worst thing is, everyone is feeling that same pressure to be interesting enough to remember. What I have to tell myself is, I am not meant to always be the most interesting person in the room. Rarely will I, or should I be, the most interesting person in the room. That's not how you make friends. That's not how you form relationships. That's not how you make memories. And most importantly, that's not how you live a life that has a kingdom-sized impact. You make friends by, get this, wanting to know the friends. And y'all, people are so cool. People are so cool. People do cool things. People talk about cool stuff. People that live cool lives. And it's worth taking the time to get to know. It's much more worth your time to really dive into how cool people are and the cool things people do than to worry about whether or not they think things you do are cool. Because if you're there, and if you're genuine, and if you're present, that's freaking cool. Not enough people are like that, so be that for the people around you. Experiencing the kingdom in this life is all about remembering that the kingdom starts with just one person. And sometimes that means taking the time to be interested in even one person at a time. Be interested. Don't worry about being interesting. Number 4, and probably the most recent lesson that I've learned, is that faith is reserved for God and not for people. Now, I just got done saying how cool people are, and they are. Don't get me wrong. People are awesome. I love them. I love to be with people. I love to share moments with people. I love conversations that you leave and you feel so full. I love the energy you get from people. I love it. I love everything about interacting with other human beings. But if there's one thing that I know about people, it's that people mess up. Take the coolest person you know, the best. They do awesome stuff. They are always nice. Take that person and increase it times 10. Their best version of themselves. I guarantee that person has let you or someone else down in one way or another at some point in their life. Probably multiple times. People let people down. And as someone who freaking loves people, I hate to think this way. I really do. I hate that that's a reality that we live in. But it is. I value relationships so much that when my world is literally going crazy, who do I turn to? People. It makes sense. The world tells us that. And it seems normal. And sometimes it really is comforting to have people around you who can support you and lift you up. I'm really thankful that I have people who have my back in tough times. But here's the thing. No matter how much we need people and community, we need God more. If all my faith is in the ability of the people around me, I'm doomed. And I know some pretty awesome people, but I have to think about it this way. I know that I let people down all the time. I'm so imperfect, and I definitely leave people hanging. Hello. Love it. If I expect people to be everything for me when I know I can't be everything for other people, I will undoubtedly be left feeling so empty. And not because people are the worst, not because people suck, not because I can't trust anyone. No, you can. But because my faith is reserved for God and not for people. This isn't because people aren't awesome. It's not because people don't deserve our love. It's not because people don't deserve our time. No. They deserve all those things. I will feel empty if I over-rely on people because people are not capable of being that for me. Only God is. And the same is true for you. A couple years ago, I had my heart just totally ripped to shreds by someone who, on all accounts, is a pretty awesome person and is very well liked. And for good reason. They're an awesome person. They're super involved in ministry, have a big heart for God's kingdom. They're kind, and they're really present with a lot of people and really change people's lives in terms of helping them find a deeper relationship with the Lord. And that's awesome. That's awesome. That's another awesome people moment. But they hurt me. And when they hurt me, I felt very confused and very broken. I would sit there thinking, how could someone who's so good and loves the Lord so much make me feel this awful? It wasn't that they were not a good person. In fact, They were just that, a person. They're only a person. God didn't give us community and relationships so we could over-rely on each other. He gave us community to point us back to the only one we can rely on. It took me way too long to figure that out, and in some ways I'm still figuring it out every day. I have held bitterness in my heart towards way too many people because I expected them to be something that they're not meant to be for me. It was my own wrongdoing to place a burden on them that only God was meant to carry. Faith is reserved for God, not for people. And finally, the fifth and not final lesson, but final for the sake of this video. The fifth lesson that I want to share with you that I wish I had known before coming to college is to give yourself grace. I don't say this in a way as always show yourself more grace than you show others. No. Give grace abundantly. Give it out, throw it out, give grace, love others, grace and love. All those things. Give it away abundantly and give it all day, all the time in everything that you do. The world needs that big time. Saying that, if you're anything like me, you're probably your own worst critic. I am way more forgiving when others fail or mess up or need help than I am when I fail, when I mess up, or when I need help. It's so easy to judge yourself more harshly than you judge those around you, especially when you enter into a new season like college. You come into this new place and it seems like everybody has everything together and knows what they're doing, and so when you mess up or when you struggle or when you don't understand something, it's so easy to be like, idiot. It's so easy to be like, why are you doing this? Why can you not figure it out? Everyone else seems to have their crap together. What's up with you? Well, hey, it's super important that you know that nobody has it all together. Especially their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, grad school, especially in college, okay? Nobody has it all together. Be understanding of others, but also be understanding of yourself. Know that it's okay to have to take some time to figure stuff out. It's okay to mess up and have to bounce back. It's okay to fail and have to learn from it. In fact, you really need to acknowledge that you will fail, you will mess up, and you will need to ask for help. You will. Go ahead and prepare yourself for that, because I can guarantee if you haven't already, which I know you have, but if you haven't already, you're going to do something stupid. But show yourself grace and check in on yourself. Don't ignore those insecurities or those anxious thoughts or the negative thoughts that you have towards yourself. If you do ignore them and things start to really get hard, you're going to struggle. It's going to be that much harder to give yourself the grace that you really need if you don't do it every single day. Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I say that all the time, but really, here's the thing. You're not always going to give it to God first. You're not always going to remember to focus more on being interested than being interesting. You're not always going to put your faith completely in God alone. Remember those things, but at the end of the day, give yourself grace when you don't do those things. We aren't perfect, and that's the point. The more you obsess over having the perfect college experience, the more you'll miss out on your college experience. Be present enough to actually experience college and not be caught up in worrying about it. And even if you've already graduated or are nowhere near going to college or have been out of college for a hot minute, know that these things still hold true for you. Not for any reason other than the fact that God never gives up on us, even when we mess up. No matter how stupid you've been or how stupid you're going to be, God is still good and has your back. If you've heard nothing else I've said, I want you to listen to this right now. Listen to me right now. Listen. No matter what, God is good and He is in you. So you've got this. I hope you enjoyed my 5 things I wish I had known before I came to college. I still have a lot to learn, I know, and I'm just excited to have the opportunity to learn, and that God has given me enough grace to get to this point in my life and still be able to learn more things. So I pray for you. I pray that God is working in your life. I pray that you are seeking a relationship with Him, and that if you're not, that you ask me, ask someone in your life to show you what that looks like and to show you just how much a relationship with Him transforms our lives today. God is good. I love you. Have an awesome day, whatever you're doing. Have a great one. Goodbye.